So I was not able to really concentrate and so on. So I'll do that, and this week hopefully we'll finish doing that. But I feel better now. Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomamatyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Gukarastvandhakaro Vai Rukarastvannivartakaha Andhakara Nirodhitva Gururitya Vidhiyate Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Shanno Mitra Shamvarunaha Shanno Bhavatvaryama Shanna Indro Brihaspatihi Shanno Vishnururukramaha Namo Brahmane Namaste Vayo Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahmasi Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahma Vadishyami Ritam Vadishyami Satyam Vadishyami Tanmamavatu Tadvaktaram Avatu Avatu Mam Avatu Vaktaram. Om Shanti 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 Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Yaschandasam Rishabho Vishwarupaha Chandobhyodhyamrita Atsambabhuva Samendro Medhaya Aspranotu Amritasya Devadharano Bhuyasam Shariram Me Vicharshanam Jihva Me Madhumattama Karna Abhyam Bhuri Vishruvam Brahmanah Koshosi Medhaya Pihitaha Shrutam Me Gopaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Aham Vrikshasya Reriva Kirtif Prishtam Gireriva Urdhva Pavitro Vajiniva Swamritamasmi Dravinagum Suvarchasam Sumedha Amritokshitaha Iti Trishankor Vedanuvachanam. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Apyayantu mama angani Vak pranas chakshuh shrotramatho balamindriyani cha sarvani. Sarvam brahma upanishadam maham brahma nirakuryam mama brahma nirakarot. Anirakaranamastu anirakaranam me astu. Tadatmani nirateya upanishadsu dharma te mayi santu Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Vang me manasa pratisthita, mano me vachi pratishthitam, avirma edi, vedasya maani isthaha, shrutam me ma prahasihi, anenadhitena puratran sandadhami, Ritam vadishyami, satyam vadishyami, tanmamavatu, tadvaktaramavatu, avatu mam, avatu vaktaram. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Bhadranno apivataya manaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Bhadran karnebhih shrunuyama devaah. Bhadram akshema akshabhiryajatraah. Stirairangaistuštuvagum sastanubhih. Vyashema devahitam yadayuh. Swasti na Indro Vriddhashvavaah. Swasti na Pusha Vishvavedaah. Swasti nastaksho Arishtanemihi. Swasti no Brihaspatir Dadhatu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Yo Brahmanam Vidadhati Purvam. Yo vai vedanscha prahinoti tasmai tam hagumvamatma buddhi prakasham mumukshur vai sharanamaham prapadye. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay, let's do the first 6 verses and then we'll start the Karika. Om ityetadakshara idagum sarvam. Om ityetadaksharam idagum sarvam. Tasya upavyakhyanam. Bhutam bhavat bhavishyaditi. Sarvam Omkara Eva. Yachanyat Trikalatitam. Tadapyonkara Eva. Sarvagum hi etat Brahma. Ayamatma Brahma. Soyamatma Chatushpat. Jagritasthano Bahishprajnaha. Saptanga Ekona Vimshati Mukhaha. Sthula Bhuk Vaishvanaraha Prathamapadaha. Sthula Bhuk Vaishvanaraha Prathamapadaha. Swapnasthanontav prajnaha. Saptanga ekona vimshati mukhaha. Pravivekta bhuktajaso dvitiya padaha. Yatra supto na kanchana kamam kamayate. Na kanchana swapnam pashyati tat sushuptam. सुषुप्तस्थान एकीभूतः प्रज्ञानघन एव आनन्दमयः ह्यानन्दभुक्चेतो मुखः प्राज्ञतृतीयपादः ह्यानन्दभुक्चेतो तृतीयपादः एष सर्वेश्वरः एष सर्वज्ञः एषोऽन्तर्यामी एष योनिः सर्वस्य प्रभवाप्ययौ हि भूतानां Okay. This before we go into the Karika, just one commentary on the word Antaryami. So this is an important word that we should really learn and think about it and get a very good grasp of what Antaryamitvam means. And I've mentioned that to you a couple of times before, but I think it'll be good to review it and perhaps reveal a certain aspect of which is important in the way we view our lives and our interactions and so on. So, Antaryami means you as a person that regulates yourself in your life. There is a sense of, this is who I am, this is where I am in my life, this is what I've got to do, this is what I have not done, I'm doing well in these matters, I'm not doing well in these matters, evaluating yourself. You know that person. And you feel you are the center of your own life. And others can help. You know, your family members can help. And how are you doing? Like, for example, when I was sick, I got so many wishes from everyone and so on and so forth. It's just amazing. One of my friends, very close friends, she just developed, she just at about my age, so she discovered she had breast cancer. So she just went through, complete surgery and so on and so forth. She is the one who has been asking, how is Vijay doing? How is he, this is just amazing how, and, they are so solicitous of your health and so on and so forth. It's so wonderful to see. But besides all the people who help you, you are the one who has to really make decisions about your life. And you do. So you are central to your own life. No one is as central to your life as you are. So we go back to the word Antaryami. So the Antaryami is that person who is central to your own life. That's what's called Antaryami. And the technical explanation of the word Antaryami means Antah sthite yamayati iti Antaryami. Antah sthite yamayati means sitting inside, not visible. What is visible both to you and to others is all of your paraphernalia, your body, your speech, your thoughts to a certain extent, etc. All of this is visible. But there is a person sitting inside who is not visible. So this is what is called Antaha. So staying inside, you are regulating your life as best as you know how to do. Yamayati, ante tishtan, staying inside, present participle. Ante tishtan, yamayati iti antaryami. This is the meaning of the word antaryami. So now, your first understanding of this word antaryami, as we have explained, this is me. Isn't it? It has to be you, because who else is in charge of your life? Who is the one who is experiencing sukha dukkha and then reacting to the various things that are given to you? If there's some dukkha, you try to remove it, etc., etc. That's you. That's called antaryami. So here it's very interesting in this verse number 6. Verse number 6 here is the samashti. Verse number 6 is the macrocosm. And so the macrocosm means Ishvara. So verse number 6 pertains to Ishvara. Eshaha sarveshwaraha, esha sarvagyaha, eshaha antaryami. It's very funny. I thought I was the antaryami. And here the Upanishad says Ishvara is the antaryami. How is that possible? I know there's some problem here. I don't see Ishvara as sitting inside of me. I am the one who is sitting inside of me. And sometimes you feel Ishvara has failed me. So he doesn't support me. All kinds of problems happen. Severe illnesses, this, that, or the other. I'm the one who's suffering. I'm the one who is reacting to it. It's me. So how come the Upanishad says that it is antaryami is the Ishvara? So here, this is an important topic. And as you know, we have talked about it before. The Brahma Sutra, Badarayana's Brahma Sutra, goes into all these tough decisions and examines them one at a time. And one of the tough decisions is antaryamitva. So this is given in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad in grade, because the Brahma Sutra is nothing but a collection of all the Vedantic teachings collected from the various Upanishads, Shruti Vakyas, and rearranges them in some kind of a structured way and examines the veracity of each of the decisions and concepts in those. This is exactly what it does. So this is why the Brahma Sutra is the last thing to be studied, and it is the final word. As I've mentioned to you, it is kind of like the Supreme Court. So the Supreme Court means that there are decisions that are handed out by lower courts, and sometimes they are well argued, sometimes they are not well argued, but these are important concepts. And so finally they bubble up to the Supreme Court, and the best minds that have been assembled together put together their decisions on, is this the right thing or not? Is it this is right or is it that right? The Antaryami section of the Brahma Sutra is one of those sections where they examine. And the way the Brahma Sutra does, it's a very beautiful thing, is to do, and this is based on the word viveka. So as you know, the word viveka means to discriminate between two possibilities, not 10, but 2. You reduce everything to a binary. In fact, even the very way of analyzing Shruti Vakyas is you keep reducing the possibilities into 2s. You examine, is it this or is it that? No, it cannot be that. So it must be this. Down another opposition comes in. He says, no, but you have not considered this part of it. Is it this or is it that? At any one time, there's always a binary analysis made. This is viveka. And the Brahma Sutra also uses the same technology, same methodology rather. It examines the two possibilities of the word antaryami. So one is the human being, or really any being for that matter, even in, if you look at birds, they are responsible for, should I fly away? Should I escape? Where is the food? So any being. But here the examination is the human being. The human being is one possibility as the antaryami. And that is what exactly how I feel. I feel I'm responsible for my life, so I am the antaryami. The other one, so there are two sets of lawyers. Lawyers means two arguments. One set of argument is the lawyers are, the human being is the antaryami. Who else can it be? It's very obvious. Very rational. The other side of this says no. It is not the human being, it is Ishvara. So now Brahma Sutra has to resolve it. And perhaps I think Brahma Sutra by itself is exhaustive and very difficult, and you need a lot of background to even to follow through with it. But perhaps one day we might take just this one section, just as an example. That'll be interesting to see. So anyway, so there are two arguments here. And the Brahma Sutra goes into an exhaustive analysis of these two. Because what happens, and in fact this is what happens in the Vedantic section, you will find that Vedanta examines the opposition to the Vedantic view just as seriously as the opposition does. They give it full value. It's like the Supreme Court judge saying, okay, let us see what you have to say. Okay, is that what you're telling me? Okay, I understand that the human being is the antaryami. Okay, and in fact encourages that viewpoint to give everything about it so that you have your full case before you. Then it says, okay, all right, let's go to the other side. And so it goes back and forth. So it does all that. Then it pronounces the verdict. That's what the whole idea is, that we have come to you, and Vyasa, who is the main connection, really of the Vedantic thought, Badarayana, the very sutra krit, not bhashya, but the sutra krit itself, who decomposed the Brahma Sutra. It is interesting talking about Brahma Sutra. Sutra is a very technical word. And the best way to understand what sutra means is, for those of you that have done some computer science will know, it is machine language. It is exactly what a machine understands, very precise. Brahma Sutra has, I think, about 4,000 sutras. There is one place where the word Brahma occurs, even though the main topic is Brahman. Athato Brahma Jigyasa is the very first sutra. That's the only one where the word Brahman appears. It appears as a noun. From that point on, all the other 4,000 sutras refer to it alone. There is no necessity to repeat it. This is how precise it is. Anyway, so going back to Antaryamitvam, it finally proclaims its verdict. And the verdict is, it is Ishvara, not the human being who is the Antaryami. And it's interesting when some verdict is given after a lot of contention, there's bound to be disappointments and surprises. And it should be. And so people will say, what? I don't understand this. How could you say that? I am the one who is suffering. I am the one who is acting and so on. What has Ishvara got to do with that? I have no idea. Who is that person? How can you say after looking at all aspects of it that it is really Ishvara? But Badarayana has nothing but the word of Ishvara itself, which means the very truth about it, says no. So in doing all of this, Swami Maheshananji, in one of his commentaries, explained this so well that I was awestruck that, wow, what a clear explanation of why it is supposed to be, why is it Ishvara and not the Jiva, who is the Antaryami. So he says the following. He says that if there is someone who is, he or she wants you to do something. So there are two ways of getting things done from you. One is by compulsion and pressure. And that means you better do it this way. If you don't do it this way, you're just going to be punished. This is not right. Do you follow? Is it what you have to do? And so people will say, yes, I'm happy about it, not happy about it. Okay, it's whatever it is. So in this way of doing things, the person who is doing things is really under the control and under the influence and under the recognition that there is a big boss who's going to really punish me unless I do this. I don't like to do it this way, but this is the way I have to do things. This is one approach. The other approach is that this person who wants you to do something actually becomes as part of your own thinking, influences you through education, and says, okay, this is how things are, and your own nature will dictate what you can do. I am not sitting here overseeing everything that you're doing at any one point in time. You do things as you do. So because I'm not there all the time. So similarly here also, for example, the government, the way the government works, either you have to really regulate it every one point in time, or you make laws in such a way that people find that this is the way I should, like for example, a very simple one is traffic laws. You can imagine where there are no traffic laws whatsoever, whether you drive on the left-hand side or right-hand side doesn't make any difference. Whoever goes first goes. Life will be very difficult. So finally, the government says, I think we need to have some traffic laws. And then once it is done, you have to drive on one side or the other, and then you have to keep your speed low, etc. Now it's up to you. Up to you as to whether you observe it or you go against the laws or something. But I'm not sitting there just, browbeating you at any one point in time. Why did you do this? Why did you do that? Unless you break the laws, then some things will be given to you. So Swami Maheshananji says that Ishvara, having created all of the human beings and other beings and so on, now has really entered its mind by making sure that things are done according to the way people want it. And those are laws that can be flouted, or you can stay with the laws and enjoy it. But there is no continuous overseer who is saying, and so the conscience is the overseeing. Conscience is the overseeing. There also the conscience actually comes in two ways. One is the drishtaphala, one is the adrishtaphala. So the drishtaphala means that as soon as you do something wrong, you get the consequences. You say something which is inappropriate, everybody looks at you and say, what? How can you say that? And then you feel, oops, I shouldn't have said that. So this is called drishtaphala. Then the adrishtaphala is that the vasana from doing something which is not proper stays with you. Stays with you. You feel, what made me say that? That was an inappropriate thing for me. I need to improve. So there is a certain anuvritti, some kind of a wake, W-A-K-E, which follows the drishtaphala, which is called adrishtaphala, which means your own thinking, regrets. And finally, you process both of them, and hopefully you will not make that mistake again. So all of that comes from the fact that a certain amount of conscience is given to you. Given to you. So now, look at it. It has been given to you. You did not invent it yourself. This is a very beautiful thing. Really speaking, the worst we should see is that everything that I am, with the exception of myself, because I am not born, I am the same as Paramatma. With the exception of that, everything that I possess has been given to me. So, even the ideas on how I lead my life are also given to me, including conscience is given to me. And the conscience and my thinking and the way I behave and the way I lead my life also comes from Ishvara. Based on, not arbitrarily, but based on the fact that I have a certain karma. So my past karmas have put me into a spot where I can reflect Ishvara's thinking. So really what I am doing is Ishvara's thinking. Ishvara's given things that are given to me, and I am just processing it. And things that are given to you belong to the person that gave it to you. You can use it, but really you are not the author of it. You can only implement it. And so therefore, Swami Maheshananji says that please see that the presence of Ishvara as the Antaryami is not as though it's a separate entity controlling you, but it has given you all the powers and all of the samagri, all of the constituents to lead your life the way you want to. Therefore, the real Antaryami is Ishvara, not the human being. And it is based on this, for example, that so for example, the very important Gayatri mantra. Gayatri mantra is simply a reflection of this antaryamitvam of Ishvara. Because he says, Om Bhurbhuva Swaha Tat Savituhu Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyoyo Naf Prachodayat. This is the last one, is the most important one. Because the Gayatri Mantra says that may you infuse the right thoughts in me. It means that I have a choice of different thoughts, some good, some not so bad. Can you please make sure that my life and thinking is directed in the way which is very beneficial to me, and I should not act contrary to that benefit. May you infuse me with the right thoughts. And so this is simply a reflection of the antaryamitvam of Ishvara. That's, listen, it is said that if Ishvara were to want to punish you for something that you have done, it gives you some thoughts that are not very good. It's out of the choice of thoughts and so on and so forth. The karma phala comes in that, oops, this guy is going to do something wrong. And so those thoughts come into yourself, and you think that they are your thoughts. But they have been chosen by Ishvara to be present at this point in time. And so to summarize this whole thing, the antaryamitvam is the way Ishvara works by just giving you all the options, providing you with the wherewithal to live, and for you to, and then finally, of course, as the word yajna, which is what we're going to discuss in the Bhagavad Gita class, the word yajna is a very important one, where the entire life becomes an offering to Ishvara. Whatever you do is an offering to Ishvara. In other words, both the Paramatma and the Jivatma are taken into account as you view your life. Right now it is just the Jivatma that is taken into account, but not the fact that there is Paramatma, not the fact that Ishvara is the Antaryami, not the fact that really my thoughts have to be regulated by myself, because I have the ability to direct myself in the right way. So anyway, this is I was reading this very beautiful explanation of Antaryamitvam, which further clarified for me the meaning of the word Antaryami. So that's what it is. Esha Sarveshwaraha, Esha Sarvagyaha, Esha Antaryami, Esha Yonihi. So Yonihi means that one who is the very Garbhasthanam, from where all the human beings come, is nothing but Ishvara alone. And then so on. Anyway. Okay, so now we have done the Karika number 1 already. Let's go on to the... And so in the Karika number 1, it's summarized, what's the purpose of the quiz that we gave already. Let me read it from this book here. Just a second, let me see. So this is in this this English book. So this was on page number 1. Prathamam prakaranam bahishpragyaha vibhuhu vishwahi antah pragyastu taijasaha ghanaf pragyas tatha pragyaha eka eva tridha smritaha. So this we did last time. I won't repeat that. Let's go to verse number 2. On page number 2. So I think it'll be good to just pronounce it. Dakshinakshi mukhe vishwaha manasi antastu taijasaha akashe cha hridi pragyaha tridha dehe vyavasthitaha. So here Swami Maheshanji points out that the purpose of the Karika, as we have explained last time also, is to not simply repeat what the Upanishad says. That will be just the bhashya, but to add something that was unsaid, clarify something which is not clear, and necessarily, but those two really. There's no mistake in the Upanishad, but there are some things that are not said and so on. So here, Swami Maheshananji says in verse number 2 that so in all states of the human experience that the Upanishad pointed out, which is Jagrata Avastha, then Swapna Avastha and Sushupti Avastha, in all the three states, the Jiva experiences them within your body. So one can say, well, what's something new about it? Of course, our experiences within the body. And the reason is that the reason why this question should come up is that there are people who feel that really I go someplace else. I leave my body and I do a swapna avastha someplace else. I have nothing to do with the body, as it appears. You have nothing to do with the body. You are an independent person floating around, and so this is what it is. In fact, as you know very well, that the swapnavastha is very close to the intermediate life between two lives. When a person dies and you're waiting to take on the next body, and we don't know how quickly that happens. Maybe your next body is almost ready. And maybe it'll take a little while, we don't know. But that intermediate stage between lives is very akin to the Swapnavastha. And the reason for that is that you are someone, but you are not overly defined by your body. And so this is exactly what happens. You're floating around, and this is what, in fact, it is said that, we all have ceremonies. We have ceremonies depending upon particular communities and so on. So the fourth day after the death, what is called Chautha, in Punjab we'll call it Chautha, there is a ceremony done. Then 14 days afterwards, there's another ceremony done after the death. And then that's it. After that, you just remember it once a year and so on. The reason it is that the anuvritti, the memory of the previous life still stays on with this person to a certain extent. And you hover around because you don't like to leave your relationships. So instead of going ahead, and because now you have to start a new life, you have to new relationships, new everything. And so forget about the old one. But for about 4 or 5 days, and sometimes possibly even say 14 days, this person hovers around. And so the prayers are done is to say, please, it is best for you. We are dealing with your death in the best way we can. You kindly now start a new life. Anyway, so the Swapnavastha gives you, one should not think about what happens, where am I, what happens to me after death. We experience it every night. We disassociate with our body and then we come back to it. So it means that I am completely leave my body. So here Karika clarifies that that is not so. While you are dreaming, this is the difference between dreaming and death. In death, you really should sever. You are completely severed away from the body. In fact, it's interesting. The word sharira, which is used for the body, it refers to a live body, not to a dead body. It refers to a right. And so, in fact, another side comment on, then I'll come back to the main topic. If you look at the word Purusha, this is also an important word to understand. Purusha. What does Purusha mean? Like, for example, Purusha Suktam. So we have Purusha Suktam. And even in the Upanishad also, the word Purusha comes very often. So, the word Purusha is actually the same word used for both Ishvara as well as a Jiva. How and why? Because Purusha is the word Purusha in this particular etymological meaning comes from the word Pur, means to complete, to fill, to imbibe. The one that completes things, that makes it really function, is called Purusha. So, going back to that discussion about the body, the sharira, the sharira, which itself has another etymology, shiryamanatvad sharira, one which is subject to decay is called sharira. But the word sharira only refers to a thing where Purusha is present. Purusha is present. So the very presence of Sharira represents the presence of Purusha. How? Because when the Purusha leaves, it is no longer called Sharira. It would be called a dead body. Has no connection to the Purusha. So the Purusha is the one which fills up, which makes the body function. Not function very well is a different thing, but it functions. Heart is beating, the blood is flowing. All of things are happening. In fact, this will become relevant in a minute. So the word Purusha means without which something is not functioning. That's a very interesting thing. As soon as the prana leaves, the same body, it just ceases to do anything. It just sits there. And now it is just ready to be decomposed. But if the Purusha is there, upholding it, it becomes a Sharira. And in fact, the same thing is true for Purusha of Ishvara. The whole Ishvara is present in our daily life because the very fact of movement, of things happening, of nights turning into day and the day turning into light, all of these functioning things that are happening are only possible if the Purusha is there. So the two are very similar to each other, and so this is called Purusha. So this Purusha, another way of looking at it, this is what I was thinking of, is the example of the electricity in an appliance. So the electricity is an independent entity from the appliance, but the electricity is important for the appliance to work. Otherwise, so the word Sharira means a functioning appliance. And if the electricity is not there, then you cannot say this is an appliance. It's just a bunch of circuitry sitting there. So anyway, going back to the verse that we are studying, what Maheswaranji pointed out is that Karika adds something that the Upanishad has not said. What does he add? He says, Dehe Vyavasthitaha, the last two words of Karika number 2. Dakshina Akshi Mukhe Vishwaha, I'll come to that later. Dehe Vyavasthitaha means that the functioning of the three avasthas, the three states of experiences, are by staying within the body. That means the Purusha is very present. It is not absent. And you cannot have a complete dissociation with the body while you're dreaming. How it is all being given in here. Okay, so this is one thing that is being pointed out. So this is an example of Karika adding something which the Upanishad had not clarified. So this is one thing. Then the second thing that the Karika explains is what is the place from where the primary experience takes place. The primary experience, the main place where the experience takes place. So it says Dakshina Akshi Mukhe Vishwaha. It's a very interesting thing. So the Jagrat Avastha, the main point of the experience of the waking state is close to your right eye. This is the central place. The right eye. And in fact, in the clarification of Shankara Bhashya also, Adi Shankara also clarifies it, that why not both the eyes? Why not both eyes? Why only the right eye? And it is said that for the vast majority of the people, the right side of the body is stronger than the left-hand side. Not for all, but primarily this is what happens. And so therefore, the right eye is, when you are born, is stronger. It may become weaker during your life. That's a different thing. Sometimes, you see better with your left-hand eye and so on. But for another reason, it'll be mentioned. The right eye is the stronger of the two, and therefore it is chosen as the one place where all the central experiences take place. So it is pointed out in the Shankara Bhashya also, and in Swami Maheshananji's commentary, that it's very interesting. One can say, how is that possible? They say because that suppose you were born blind. And you have never seen anything. You've never seen anything. You're born blind. Complete darkness. It happens in those cases also when there is some movement in front of the person goes on, the eye sockets move. Eye sockets follow. If you're going the right hand side, even though he's blind, he's never seen anything. The eye socket moved this way. So the very experience of the Jagrat Avastha is through the eye. The eye is the most important one. This does not happen, for example, if you are born deaf. If you're born deaf, there is no movement of anything. But the eye is an important thing as part of that. Another one is that the sun and the light of the sun and the light which is cognized by the eye work together in your Jagrat Avastha. So those two, so the eye is very important because in order for you to function as in the waking state, you need the sun. You need the sun. In fact, another thing that is pointed out in this analysis is that the light and the heat both work together. So for example, in the case of the sun, it has two functions. One is provides you light, and the other function is it provides you with the heat. And it is said from the experience of yogis that when they concentrate and really think very hard about everything and do samadhi, their right eye becomes red. And it is from the heat of thinking. Heat of thinking. And so the heat of, it's not nearly as much, it's not as though it's going to burn or anything like that, but you do have some changes in the eye which reflect both the heat and the light of the eye. But the heat and the light work together. So for example, the Agni, the fire, which is also nothing but the offshoot of the sun. Really all warmth, everything that burns, everything that heats and so on, all comes from the sun, including the Vaishvanaraha Agni inside your body. And so the food that you take produces the necessary heat for your body to function, to make it into a sharira. That Vaishvanaraha Agni also comes from the sun in the form of food, from aushadhis that you intake. And then it is processed inside and heat is produced. And the absence of the heat means that the pranas are not functioning, and pretty soon the death is around the corner. So what you find is that some portions of the body, and in fact there is a sequence, which one goes first and so on and so forth. But the presence of life is indicated by heat. And the heat and the light all both come from the sun. And so for example, same thing on the Gayatri mantra. Om bhur bhuva swaha tat savituhu varenyam. Savitri. So Aditya, so this is also called Aditya. So the word Aditya comes from the opposite of Dit. Dit means to cut, to sever. And Aditi is the goddess of always maintaining its presence, never failing. And the son of Aditi is called Aditya, which is the sun. So the sun is the very basic ingredient of the life. This is where it's a great habit I think one should really develop, that as if possible, get up before the sun does. That'll be wonderful. But even if you don't, as soon as you see the presence of the sun, you do a prayer to the sun. And the prayer can be either through some formal Surya Namaskara, or it could be just the presence to the fact that I don't take this thing to be just any one thing. You are important for my life, functioning of the very Vaishwanara Agni in my life, and the fact that I cannot even function without you and the I working together for making sure that I am aware of differences, similarities, and the whole thing. So that kind of just a prayer in the very presence of, how else is going to be Ishvara going to be present in your life? It's very obvious, but we don't really think about it. So the sun becomes very important. So here, Dakshina Akshi Mukhe Vishwaha. So the Vishwa is the one. Let's look at the English translation of this. So one and the same, all-pervading, is well set up threefold in the body itself. Vishwa in the front of the right eye. And so just a commentary on that. So here, please see that when you talk about the right eye, it is not the physical presence of the eye. It is the functioning indriya behind the eye. And in fact, Swami Maheshwaranji pointed out that in the Western science, this is articulated as optical lobe. Optical lobe. So the optical lobe means that the whole functioning, I don't know if the optical lobe means it or not, but the indriya, the word indriya sure does. It is not the physical presence of the eye. Like for example, in the case of a congenitally blind person, their eyes are still there. You see the retina and the iris and on the shape and so on, but the indriyas are not functioning. So the presence here is called in the indriyas, not in the right eye itself. Dakshina Akshi Mukhe Vishwaha. Manasi Antaha Tu Taijasaha. And so in the dream state, the main focus for the experiences is the mind. Obvious, because the whole dream is also nothing but an expansion of your mind, is projections of your mind, and so on. And then in the pragya, Akashe cha hridi pragya means that the space in the central part of your beingness. This is what the heart means, not just the mansa, not just the flesh of the mind of the heart, but the very central point of where you are. Everything collapses into it. This is called hridakasha. So the akasha of the heart means the space within your own self. This is not the total space. That will come later on. But this is just the space within the human being. And this will be explained more also a little bit later on. So the central point of the experience of the deep sleep is in hridakasha. Means that the mind also collapses the body awareness also collapses, but it stays there in the Hridakasha. So those are the three. And in all three cases, they pragyaha tridhaha dehe vyavastitaha. It is there in the deha itself. In fact, let me finish the commentary on the dehe vyavastitaha. I think I've done that. Yeah. Number 3. Okay. I think they're pretty much finished with number 2. And I'll just briefly introduce number 3 and go into that in more detail. So another thing that the Karika points out, adds to, not just adds, but just clarifies the thinking of the Upanishad, is that the 3 states are all experienced within the Jagrat Avastha. The Sushupti and the Swapnavastha, even though distinctly experienced, are distinctly experienced in different ones, but they are also present in the Jagrat Avastha. So here's the picture. It's not as though you have 3 states that are totally distant from each other. Not like that. Yes, in the Swapnavastha and Sushupti Avastha, in the deep sleep and the dream state, you have purity of whatever you are doing. Like in the case of the dreaming, it is all purity of the mind, just nothing but mind itself. And in the case of deep sleep, you have an absence of everything. But the mental thinking of the dream state is also present in the Jagrat Avastha. And not thinking anything is also present in the Jagrat Avastha. So the Jagrat Avastha should be seen to be consisting of all 3, perhaps not as distinctly as you are in the dream state, but it is also present in your Jagrat Avastha. This will be explained in the 3rd Karika, which is coming up a little bit later on. So this fact is added to what the Upanishad is saying, that really speaking, in fact, it will be clarified for us how this happens. And in fact, I can just give you a very quick thing and then we'll repeat it next time. So what happens is that suppose your eyes are open and you're looking at things and so on and so forth, and then suppose you close your eyes. Now, the impressions of the scene that you just saw while your eyes were open are still there in your mind. And it is clarified, it is not memory. It's not memory, it is just the presence of the scene that you just experienced. You just happen to close your eyes. That is very much like Swapnavastha. And when you're not thinking anything at all, when you're just there's no thoughts coming, no nothing, that is like deep sleep. Anyway, these things will be commented on in a little bit more detail. And so I just wanted to start on that, and that will be the third karika. And so the purpose of the karika is to continue to examine in more detail and in more clarity what was stated by the Upanishad. And so that is the purpose of it, and then we will continue with that next time. Om Swasti Prajabhyah Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahishaha Go Brahmanebhyah Shubhamastu Nityam Loka Samastha Sukhino Bhavantu Kale Varshatu Parjanyaha Prithvi Sasya Shalini Desho Yam Shobharahitaha Brahmana Santu Nirbhayaha Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkhabhag Bhavet Asato Ma Satkamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. Sorry, yes. So the Purusha is the Atma, and the word Jiva would represent the word appliance. See, so a functioning appliance is the Jiva, but the Purusha is like the electricity. Yeah, Satish.
Yes, I have a very question which is in mind a lot of people, but in my mind, that the last sentence you used where when you close your eyes, you are in a lecture, the vision is there, and you remember that saying. Pending that, when people in sixth stage, they go into coma, in the coma, they remember that scene, not only that scene, they continue remembering what is happening to the body even if they are not in the body, in the coma state.
Mm-hmm.
Extension of that. And this is a real life drama, somebody wrote a whole of this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And come back to life, having remembered everything, all that went along.
Yeah, so that's possible. So their memory is important. Their impressions on their mental sphere comes into being, and it is somewhere between you might say a state between death and swapnavastha.
Yes.
Because the swapnavastha means that your body is still functioning well, but you are given a small rest away from it. Whereas in a coma, there's something not correct with your mind, but you're not ready to die yet. You're not ready to completely. So your karma phalas are still binding you to the body, even though you are unable to come back to the. So something like that. It's one of those states. Yeah.
The connection is not severed. The connection of consciousness is not severed from the body.
Not severed from the body. No. It is still there in some fashion or the other. Yeah. So yes.
So this Upanishad talks a lot about dream state and
Yeah.
all that. So I was just thinking, a lot of times we phase out. Sometimes, even driving or you're sitting at home watching TV, or especially when you're a young student in the classroom and teacher talks and you just phase out.
You do? Oh my goodness. I hope not. Okay.
So the point is, so what is that? I mean, you don't remember what you are thinking when you're phased out, and you don't remember what is happening around you. So you're just sitting there, and that's all you know. So what is that? What does that mean?
So no, I think that it's nothing strange about that phenomena. It just means that we have three variations of the way we are experiencing our life. One variation is where your life is controlled by what you see around you. You're aware of your body, etc. The other one is where the impressions from your previous life are predominant, but you are not aware of what's happening. That's a dream state. And the third option is that none of that actually happens. You are still in the state of denial of who you are because you don't know, but the expressions of who you are not there. So that is the deep sleep. So all of our experiences are one or the other variations of this. That's all it is. And none of them is me, because this is all acting in kind of like, I think Swami Dayanandaji had given a very beautiful example. That, you know, if you look at some of these very popular Bollywood stars, or even in Hollywood, they star in multiple movies at the same time. They'll do one scene with someone from until 12 o'clock, then they'll have lunch, and then go to a different movie altogether. When that's finished, then they go, you know. So it's something like that, but the actor is none of the roles that he or she is playing. They are just playing in three different movies altogether. So the objective of this Mandukya Upanishad is to point out that please see that you are experiencing certain aspects of your life that are not, you are not stuck with. That's not the actor. That's just a role that you're playing. And then if you're able to examine it in a very systematic manner with the help of the Upanishad, then as we saw in the quiz, that your identity is something totally different from it. And so that's all it is. And the rest of the experiences that you talk about where you phase out or something is nothing but one of the variations of the three experiences.
So to experience a dream state or sapna, you don't have to be actually in sleep or something, because it just is a weird something that happened to me. I woke up and I was looking at the mirror, and it's difficult to figure out what I'm looking at. When you look at the body and you don't know what that is, then I got scared and got out of there. But everything was completely.
So I think that's what the Karika is also pointing out, that the aspects of the dreamlike experience where you are away from the reality of what you're doing can be there. It's very possible. You can do that. But in a pure form, that is only possible in the dream state. Yeah.
May I ask a question?
Yeah.
We normally say that my subconscious says, my subconscious.
Mm-hmm.
Is it same as Antaryami?
Yes. So the Antaryami, of course, is it includes, not limited to the subconscious. So it includes really all of my thinking, whether it is conscious thinking or unconscious thinking or subconscious thinking, is the makeup of the Antaryami. Yeah, everything about it. The issue that comes in is that I mislabel it as me. I mislabel it as just me, and then I suffer from it. Whereas, for example, let's just say that when you're thinking about something, if you recognize that was what Ishvara made you at that time, so you make him as a partner in your experience, then the life as a yajna becomes more real, because you're not isolating yourself as a person that is completely responsible for your thoughts and so on and so forth, but to see that it is part of a flow which has been engineered by Ishvara, and your very birth and your thinking and your so on and so forth is nothing but an evolutionary process. And now, having recognized that and seeing the presence of Ishvara's handiwork, then you do the best possible way to improve the functioning of your life and so on and so forth. So the subconscious and all those are all part of the antaryami. It's not as the only one. Yeah.
So I had a related question on antaryami. So while you were describing this now, it seemed to me that free will is not really free. Could you comment on that?
So the free will also is relative in that manner that it is free, pretty free in the sense that your ability to mold your thinking, to select the right thoughts, to select the right course of action in your life is yours. There's no, but you should recognize that it's not always going to be possible. So for example, I was very sick for the last 1 week. And the asthma was such that my study and my thinking, etc., I had to suspend it. Okay, so I cannot say that my free will is that I'm sick. I was all given from the karma phala and so on and so forth. I have to go with it. But now I cannot, once that it leaves, I'm back again to my normal thinking and so on. So the free will is there, but with the limitations that you are realistic.
So the way to think about it is it is free, but with a set of boundary conditions.
Correct, exactly.
So free will is the characterization of a jiva, where antaryami is the characterization of Ishvara.
Yeah, so the jiva also is nothing but an expression of the antaryami. Jiva also is nothing but an expression of the antaryami. It's not an independent thing from the antaryami. It is just the application of the antaryami through any one person. And that's what makes the variation so beautiful, because you are in charge of your life, how you want to, where you want to go, what you want to do, and so on and so forth. But the possibilities of that are engineered by the antaryami. Yeah.
So it's like the antaryami is the samashti, and the expression of
Yes,
through the
yes, yes, absolutely. Okay, so we'll see you next week.